Welcome everybody to the Tile Roofing Industry Alliance Foam Adhesive Training. My name is John Jensen. I'm the Tile Roofing Industry Alliance Training Manager. We're here to help. It's great to be in a role now where instead of selling roofs or selling services, we get to give everything we have away, which is contacts, information, and resources. We can connect you to the best in the industry. Adrian Robledo is our presenter today. He's not only an expert with foam adhesive products, but he also worked with one of our manufacturers for several years. So he's really the perfect person to deliver this type of training. And he will take you through foam adhesive installations.
Thank you, John, Lisa, and the TRI for putting together these short series presentations. It's important for all of us to understand the proper applications and options when it comes to installing concrete and clay roof tiles. As John mentioned, my name is Adrian Robledo. I'm the Director of Sales for ICP Adhesives and Sealants. A little bit of background about myself. I did come from a national roof tile manufacturer. I'm based out of Coral Springs, Florida, but get to travel across the country and help contractors and installers learn different options when it comes to installing concrete and clay roof tiles. A little bit of background of how polyurethane foam products kind of evolved into the industry. A lot of people are local to Florida. You might recall Hurricane Andrew that happened in August of '92. When Andrew kind of first came down South Florida around the Keys, Homestead area, a lot of these concrete and clay roof tiles were installed with what's called a mud set system, a mortar set install. And that was the first exposure to a lot of the destruction, especially when it comes to the high winds that Florida experienced during that event. And the industry was looking for a better way to secure these concrete and clay roof tiles. And that's how the foam kind of evolved, started in Florida, but since then it's growing into other markets for other purposes as far as installation, whether it's high wind areas or just a faster application, or really just to offer your clients a proven product that's been around for almost 30 years now. This is a quick little video. This is what's called a two-component foam down system, large Paddy on the left, and then on the right you have two screws, mechanical fasteners. And this kind of tells a story of the benefits of using adhesive, especially in the high wind areas. I'll speak to this while it's playing to kind of review a little bit of what's happening here. But this was a video sent to us by a third-party lab. And in this video, you can see on the left side, those tiles are installed with foam underneath each and every single tile. On the right side, those are installed with two screws over a batten system. And you can see once the hurricanes, force winds get to at least a category 3, you start to see what's called chattering of these tiles and the airborne debris that's happening, the breakage. On the other side of the video, the foam down system, each and every tile acts like an individual system, meaning that if one of those tiles were to break, that next wind event going underneath those tiles, most likely those are going to stay secure because they're individual systems, versus if they were mechanically fastened, wind gets underneath those tiles and you start to get that piano, that breakage, that chattering type effect. So this video, it's on YouTube. A lot of contractors, download this video. They show it to customers whenever they're bidding their jobs, and the customers are asking, what type of system are you going to be applying? And it just kind of speaks for itself as far as what that product does. Again, this is a two-component large Paddy underneath each and every one of those tiles. And we'll go into what single and two-component mean in a bit. These are pictures taken from various hurricanes in the past. Those top two photos are from Hurricane Harvey that hit the Texas region in August of 2017. And you can see that top left photo, those tiles were installed over a 30-pound felt using a batten system with only one nail. And again, Harvey hit the Rockport, Texas coast at a category 4. So you can just imagine the damage that happened out there. That photo on the right, for those that have installed a glazed tile before, very nice, very expensive. But what this contractor and really the homeowner failed to understand there is it's not about the aesthetic look of the product. It's the most important part is how it's installed, especially along these coastal regions. These bottom two photos were taken in Florida from Hurricane Irma, and you can see a lot of the damage that happened. That left photo there, but we found out in our studies was a lot of these hip and ridge, these trim tiles that were airborne from these hurricanes, they start to roll and affect a lot of these field tile areas, and that's where you get those sporadic breakages. The good thing about our industry is that they're always evolving and they're always researching to find better ways to attach concrete and clay roof tiles. In 2006, they enacted a metal or a wood member along these hip and ridges, and those projects that had that wood member or metal member along the hip and ridges, those were less likely to cause damage. So these trainings are very important and really to understand the proper application and really what works during these events. This right photo there, that's that mud set system that kind of exposed Hurricane Andrew to a lot of the damage. These are mortared set patties with concrete tile. These photos, these top two photos were taken right next to those previous photos with the damage. That top left photo, that's from Hurricane Harvey, right next to those previous photos. This right one is from Hurricane Irma. And some manufacturers have what's called a warranted system on their product. So if you're putting the proper adhesive underneath the tiles, they will warrant those projects. And we went to go visit some of these projects that we have these warranties on, and we're less likely to see a lot of the damage versus obviously if these were installed with screws or nails. These bottom two photos were taken from Puerto Rico. And for those that recall, Puerto Rico was hit with two hurricanes back to back, Maria and Irma. But again, these projects down here were done about 15 years ago with that warranted system. So the product has been proven in the market and it does work. Next, we're going to get into what are single component and two component products. When you hear single component and two component, what does that mean? Pretty much polyurethane, it's a mixture of two primary chemicals. You have your A side, which is the isocyanate, and the B side, which is the polyol. On the single component products, those two chemicals are contained in one self-containing kit. Once the installer pulls the trigger on these kits, they're moisture cured, versus the two component products where those chemicals are kept separate and the reaction begins once those chemicals kind of combine in that mixing nozzle. So first we'll talk about the single component products. They usually come in what the industry refers to as 23-pound kits. They kind of look like barbecue tanks. They come with a 7-8 foot gun hose assembly. They come with two mixing nozzles and a wrench to tighten the hose to the stem valve of that cylinder. They also come in repair can sizes as well, which you can yield about 25 to 30 pieces of tile per repair can. The good thing about these single component products is they're very quick, they're very portable. You can have multiple guys working on different roof sections. Great for hips and ridge and cut pieces. And they also have high wind uplift values that they provide. And these portable kits, what will happen is these installers work either the front side of one house and then on the back side, another guy working on the hips and ridges. So they're able to get these jobs done a lot quicker than they would if they were using any other type of system. On the single component products, there are several states that have regulated the blowing agents. They wanted to go to a environmentally friendly global warming potential product. So on the Polyset products, all of those single component products meet these state regulations, and these state regulations continue to grow in size. It started from 7, now it's up to 10, And so we're seeing more states such as California, Colorado, New York, Delaware, even Canada adapt to these global warming blowing agents. So the good thing is for the single component RTA1 kit, it does meet all those regulations. It's important to understand the profiles of tiles that you're working with as well to understand the proper installation methods for the single component products. So this is just a slide that shows, for those that aren't too familiar with profiles of tile, you have, these are the three most popular profiles of tile. You have what's called a flat or low profile tile. You have a medium profile tile, or some people refer to that as a double roll. Then you have your high profile tile, or some people refer to that as a S tile or high barrel tile. So it's important to first understand what you spec that job for, because the applications are going to be different per that profile of tile. You can see here, these are the three profiles of tile, but notice the beads, they're a little bit different as far as what system you're using. On the left there, that's that medium profile of tile, and you see a horizontal bead on that headlap of the tile and a vertical bead right on that underlayment. Once you get to the flat tile, you have two horizontal beads, and that high barrel, that S tile, is going to require a little bit more adhesive, and that's predominantly because of the shape of that tile. So again, it's important to get with the manufacturer of the adhesive product that you are using, because they have specifications that have been tested accordingly with their products. This is a lot of information on this slide, but I just wanted to show you in perspective what a bead of single component adhesive means when it comes to using mechanical fasteners. So in this example here, you have the flat low profile tile right on top, where you have a allowable overturning moment or a uplift resistant force of 50. To get this same number right here, if I'm going to use mechanical fasteners on that low profile tile, I'm going to have to use two number 8 screws. So obviously with adhesive, you're eliminating all those penetrations on that roof deck. With adhesive, you want to make sure that you're using an approved underlayment. These are underlayments that the manufacturer has tested with their adhesive products. They are compatible. Most of them have pretty much the top underlayment products that you see in the markets today. But if by chance you do happen to use an underlayment that's maybe not approved, or you've just been using it for a number of years and that's your go-to product and you still want to use adhesive, you also have what's called a hybrid system, where you can put those two mechanical fasteners on that tile, put a bead of adhesive right on the overlaps of these tiles. And what that's going to do, that's going to give you a higher moment uplift number, and it allows you to use your underlayment of choice. For the single component products, these are excellent for tile repairs. For those on the call that have a tile repair department, you might find it a little bit difficult if this was mechanically fastened to get that screw or nail out. Usually with repairs, what you normally do is break this debris of tile, clean that underlayment. Wherever you have that screw or nail penetration, put your bull or mastic there to cover that up, and then you attach your new tile. If this was an adhesive set system that you needed to repair, pretty much all you do is shear off that adhesive that was existing under the tile. So adhesive is meant to shear off. It's not meant to pull off for those uplift forces. You can shear it off pretty easily, apply your new bead of adhesive, and shimmy that tile in place there. So it makes for a lot faster tile repair. So that was single component. Now we're going to get into two component products. On the two component products, they come in what's called disposable products, which are these box kits here. Again, the two chemicals are kept separate, the A and the B, and once they're combined into that nozzle and they're sprayed, that's where that reaction begins. For those contractors that do multiple tile works, and especially for the ones in the higher wind regions, might gravitate more towards the refill cylinders. On the refill cylinders, there's a nitrogen tank that's also is needed to purchase there, along with what type of dispenser you're going to be using, whether it's a plastic or a metal dispenser. But again, it various sizes of 2-component products for the projects that you have going on. This is a quick little video of a 2-component product being applied to a deck there. You can see how fast they're going. This is what's called a stair-step method, where you have one guy pulling the trigger of that metal gun, the other guy right behind installing the tile. You have a pretty good crew that's pretty knowledgeable in applying adhesive. You can get a lot of squares done pretty rapidly using the system. These are just photos of various profiles of tile being applied with the 2 types of refill system gun hose assemblies. Here you have the metal gun dispenser. The good thing about the metal gun dispenser is they come with nozzles right here where you can calibrate that A and the B cylinder right from the rooftop. Some installers kind of gravitate more towards these plastic gun hose assemblies. Again, on the refill cylinder, it's just a preference of choice, what that installer prefers, the plastic or the metal. Get with the adhesive manufacturers because they do offer training on these types of systems. So the first primary benefit to using a foam system is the added break strength compared to mechanical fasteners. If you're using adhesive, it adds about 80% break strength to that tile. And for those that have walked on roofs, you might kind of see and feel the difference immediately. If it was a foam down system, they're less likely to cause damage and break. And this is what they look like. It acts like a pillow, like a cushion underneath each and every one of those tiles. Also, for those that have a solar department, we're seeing a lot of solar now evolved in various markets. We usually get a lot of calls from wanting to use the adhesive, especially around the walk path areas of these solar panels. Also, in certain markets, you have to pressure wash these concrete and clay tile roofs due to mold and mildew. So that's a lot of foot traffic on those roofs. And again, if you have the 2-component underneath each and every one of those tiles, it adds about 80% additional break strength. One of the most important parts when you are using adhesive is that proper contact that you're making on that tile. There's 2 types of systems, what's called a medium Paddy and a large Paddy system for the 2-component products. On the large Paddy, the installers will usually spray a 2x10 foam Paddy on the roof deck. It's 2 inches in width, 10 inches in length. And that's going to get them the proper contact for a large Paddy system. You can see on the picture there, the measuring tape, that's the proper contact. Usually what they'll do is they'll spray this Paddy on the deck, lay the tile, give it about 5 minutes, pick up that tile just to make sure that proper contact is making the needed input with that adhesive. On a medium Paddy application, the installer will spray a 2x7 Paddy on that underlayment, and that's going to give them the proper contact for a medium Paddy, which is usually around 12 to 14 square inches of contact. And again, the adhesive manufacturers make it fairly simple to understand what profile of tile, how the beads have to be placed, where to place them, and the size. This is just taken from our installation instructions where it shows exactly that, 2x7, where to place the bead for a medium Paddy and then a large Paddy. When you're working on your hips and ridges, there's pretty much 3 ways to install trim tile to your hips and ridges. You can go straight across that 2x or metal member there, or you can flip each and every trim piece of tile, go 2 inches from the eave of that tile, then spray your adhesive and cap that over. Or if you're using a wood member and you just want to apply adhesive on the headlaps of the trim tiles, you can put a 1x6 bead with an approved mechanical fastener. So the second primary benefit to using adhesive is exactly what that video showed, that hurricane resistant, that wind uplift moment that you get out of the product. If you're using a large Paddy on pretty much any profile of tile, whether it's the flat, the medium, or the high barrel, you can withstand Category 5 hurricanes. On the previous slide, we showed you what those moment uplift numbers were on the RTA1 single component product. Here's what they are when you're dealing with the 2-component product here. You see how now we're getting into the hundreds on various profiles of tile. So the 2-component will give it that extra uplift resistance that you need. And I see some people on the call from California as well. You might use this, and this is on YouTube. This is a seismic earthquake simulation here that was sent to us by one of our manufacturers that did this testing. You can see on that seismic table on the left there, that was installed with a wire tie system, which is pretty popular out in California area. On the right, you have a large Paddy underneath each and every one of those. That's a cap and pan 2-piece clay tile install there, but pretty much the large Paddy maxed out that seismic table there. And the third primary benefit to adhesive is virtually 0 penetrations on that roof deck. For example, on an average 50 square roof, you're penetrating that roof with just one mechanical fastener 4,400 times. Depending on where the job's at, some jurisdictions might require 2 fasteners, so that just doubles the amount of penetrations on that roof deck. With adhesive, you're pretty much eliminating all those penetrations, which obviously can cause future damage to that roof and cause some leaks if not adhered properly. And this is what it looks like in the attic, which I'm sure most of you have seen. You see all those penetrations going through that deck. Once you get movement on these tiles, that abrasion is just opening up a little bit larger. You're getting splices now underneath there. So with adhesive, it eliminates all that as well. Some manufacturers offer warranties on their products, on their adhesive products, primarily the 2-component products. We have a 5-year warranty for a medium Paddy application, 20-year warranty for a large Paddy, and there's also an adhesive set NDL warranty as well. You get with your manufacturers to make sure that you are properly trained on whatever product you're using, whether it's a single component or 2-component. These certifications are free of charge. Usually the manufacturers will go out to the job site and train your installers on the product, show them the proper contact area, how to safely handle these products, where to apply the adhesive, and then usually the manufacturers will put a picture of the product that the installer has been trained on. What we do also is we expire these cards, and we do that for a reason. As we all know, especially in Florida, they're going through changes with this new ASC 716, so codes are always changing. Manufacturers are always changing the way that they install their products, so it's important, you know, for us to recertify these guys and keep them up to date with the latest code changes, so that way there's no issues at the job site. Trainings are very important. Again, whether it's a job site or whether it's an office type training, get with your adhesive manufacturer. They can set that up. And again, depending where your job is located, just make sure that the adhesive product that you are using has the proper code body approvals. And in some jurisdictions as well, make sure it's listed on the tile manufacturer's NOAs. To sum up the presentation, here's a couple key points to take away. Again, 0 penetrations, higher wind uplift, added tile support, makes for easy tile repairs, especially when it comes to installing cut pieces. Cut pieces are hard to adhere to a deck. I mean, if they're not attached with some type of caulking or adhesive product, you want to make sure that the adhesive manufacturers provide that proper training to your installers. They're a lot faster, the speed, the efficiency, you get more squares done versus mechanical fasteners. Again, these products have been around for over 30 years and have been proven to withstand not only these wind events, but any type of event, whether it's earthquakes or monsoons. Less callbacks and claims from using mechanical fasteners due to roof damage. It's a way to separate your yourself from your competitors and add value to your customers. And again, depending on where the job is at, in some areas, it's almost a requirement to use adhesive, especially the coastal high wind regions. And that concludes my presentation. And John, Lisa, I'll turn it back over to you to.
Great. Well, we'll wrap it up. Thank you, Adrian, and thank you everyone for being on the call today.